Castillo. Es un gran gusto para mí presentar la conferencia. Lo de hoy es inyección de tinta, lo que las agencias de publicidad deben saber, que dictará una gran personalidad, Deborah Karn. Evento patrocinado por Canon. Deborah se autodefine como embajadora intergaláctica del universo de la impresión, Printverse. Tiene 25 años de experiencia trabajando en publicidad y producción corporativa de impresión. Actualmente trabaja tras bambalinas, backstage, apoyando a los impresores para desarrollar relaciones de valor con clientes, proveedores de la industria, eventos y organizaciones que los lleven al éxito a través del marketing de sus medios sociales, contenido e iniciativas educativas. A través de su página y sus canales sociales está en contacto con más de 150,000 profesionales del marketing e impresión en una base continua. Démosle nuevamente un aplauso a Deborah.
Gracias.
Welcome,
gracias.
Deborah.
Gracias. Hola, México. ¿Cómo está usted? Yeah, ustedes. ¿Cómo está ustedes? ¿Sí? Okay, that was it for my Spanish. Now I leave it for the professional. And thank you, translator. I appreciate it very much. And thank you for all of you coming and spending your time here, and to Canon for inviting me, and for Andigraf for having me as well. So who am I? I am the intergalactic ambassador to the Printiverse, and my website is called Print Media Center. Print Media Center provides information and resources to print and marketing professionals, and I always like to add, with a little fun in the mix. I don't sell anything. All I do is tell people about things that are out in the world, and hopefully they help them to make the best decisions for their business by providing them information that does not have any boundaries or barriers. I am the host of podcasts from the Printiverse. I started the channel in 2017, and to date it is listened to in 111 countries and has been downloaded more than 46,000 times as of last night. Now, if I was Beyonce, that would be nothing, but considering it's the print industry, those are pretty big numbers for people listening to programs about print and marketing. I also host Print Chat every Wednesday on social media, on Twitter, and it is an hour-long discussion about print and marketing. Anybody who has a Twitter account can participate or watch. And I mean, it is in English, but if, you know, Google has that translate thing, so you can follow along. I am the founder of International Print Day. I decided that we needed our own holiday, so I declared International Print Day for all of us, and it is celebrated by sharing all the amazing things that could be done with print and print marketing for 24 hours on social media. It starts in Australia and it ends in the United States, and it goes for 24 hours. And in the last 2 years, the United Nations and the United States Capitol Capitol, have recognized the holiday. So we have our own holiday. Yay! Yay! And I just made it up, which is the cool part. You can make up holidays. I have to get Hallmark to print a card now. Do you have Hallmark in Mexico? See? El carta? I started a LinkedIn group, and it is now the #1 group in the world for print. I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment, but if you are on LinkedIn, I encourage you to join it. There's people from everywhere on the planet in there, certainly people who speak Spanish a lot. So please join us. And one of the things I am most proud of is I am the head girl in charge of Girls Who Print. And it is an organization that is open to women anywhere in the world. And what we are doing is we are forming a mentorship platform so that people women entering the industry have someone that they can talk to about navigating the print industry as a woman, and of course to help each other throughout our careers. This is a free thing. I rarely do anything that costs regular people money, so you should hang out with me. For the purposes of this presentation, I'm going to talk to you from what I call my print buyerologist point of view, and I will explain what that means now. So, how did I end up at EXPOGRAFICA in Mexico City? El Avión de Delta, but also I worked in advertising agencies for 25 years as a print customer, as a print buyer, as somebody who used much of the technology that's on the show floor and worked with many printers out in the world. And I lost my job, and as I mentioned, I started this LinkedIn group, and through the LinkedIn group, started to grow and grow and grow. And when that happened, I declared myself the intergalactic ambassador to the Printiverse. There was too much going on in the group for me to go back to my regular job. And so I kind of created my own job. And what I did was I was able to see what everybody in the, what I call the Printiverse, was focused on or talking about, because remember, I was the top of the pyramid of this LinkedIn group. And I was looking at I could see all the discussions and I could see all the questions. And because the group started growing and growing and growing, it gave me access. People wanted me to come around so that I could share information with the audience, which is pretty much why I'm here right now doing this. It's freaking awesome, right? So I had, oh my God, right? Right. I started having access to information, events, and people that I never had access to in an advertising agency as a print production person. I didn't even know that half the technology on the show floor existed. And yet I was controlling $80 million, $100 million print budgets. But I was only working with my printers with the equipment that they had. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but you know, it was an eye-opener to come to an event and see other stuff out there. So the conversations that were going on in the industry were really primarily between the people selling equipment and the people buying equipment, but nobody was talking to the people who had to use the equipment as the end user. And it has become a serious, serious problem, because you cannot, there is no reason to develop new technology if people are not using the technology that's here already. So we have to kind of catch everybody up. So I kind of took it upon myself, after a few years of talking to the manufacturers and people who I had access to now because of this LinkedIn group, to start my own program. So I started something called Project Peacock, or Peacock Project, as Irina likes to say, and Pavo de Real, right? Pavo Real, Proyecto Pavo Real, yeah. So Project Peacock was, I started it because I wanted to show off, to show the print customers out there who were just like me, sitting in advertising agencies, sitting in marketing departments of brands, all the amazing stuff that I could now see because I got to go to the printing events. So the mission of Project Peacock was very, very simple. Educate, enlighten, show people things they'd never see before, and like I said in the slide before, it said printspiration. So instead of inspiration, I like to call it printspiration. So to give the buyers printspiration, I targeted potential inkjet users because I knew that would be a technology that they did not know of, and digital print users because most people are already using offset, so digital print would be something new to them. Working in advertising for 25 years, if you want to get me into a room, even today, give me some food, give me some coffee, and I will go. So just like this morning, you said come get some food and coffee in the Canon booth, and I went right over there. So we provided food for them, for the agencies that we visited with, and we showed them print samples, and we inspired them to learn about new things about digital printing, especially how ink, paper, and press now works together. It didn't used to be like that. A print customer like me could pick any paper that I wanted to use and print my project and not think of anything again. But the world of marketing doesn't work that way anymore. You might have a campaign that goes from an online component all the way to the side of a wall, and you need to make sure everything looks together. So looks like it works together. So it's all important that they understand how this all works. So I gathered up some partners in America, Canon Solutions America, Domtar Paper, Skodex, which is a digital print enhancement, and Miralupa was an augmented reality company, because we wanted to show them just opportunities there were with new opportunities with print marketing. We presented to over 600 print customers, and these are the agencies and the brands that we visited. And I think it's really important that you see this, because there are probably some names you recognize here, but these are all worldwide agencies and brands, most of them. And the APC NYC is highlighted because that is actually the Advertising Production Club of New York City. That organization has been in existence for over 100 years. So what were the results of these presentations, these show and tells that we brought to these conference rooms? I didn't know that was possible. That made me happy, because that proved my point that the print customers did not know what was going on. That would be perfect for my company or my client. When we showed the creatives print samples and they took them out of our hands and started talking to each other about ways that they could incorporate these techniques into their current clients' work, we knew that we had reached them. We had provided Printspiration, and they were going to start doing some things differently. The number one question we got, the first agency that we visited with, there were 40 print buyers in the room, and the first question we got was, can I have a list of vendors who can help me? And when I say vendors, I mean printers. That's what they were asking for. This advertising agency was asking me to give them printers to print with, which is crazy. If this is a big advertising agency, you would think every printer in the world was trying to talk to them. But last year, something changed dramatically when we were showing our print samples, and it was, tell me more about inkjet. And that was the first time it happened. Prior to last year, when we showed these buyers and brands and advertising agencies samples of inkjet printing, it's not that the samples were bad, but they didn't understand what it was. Everybody we gave the sample to tried to rub the ink off because they thought it was like their desktop printer. They had no idea what we were talking about. And it was a very hard conversation to have because, well, you know, I mean, print customers don't really want to know the technical aspects of things, so it was hard to explain it. So we were very happy that now they just wanted to know more about it in a different way. So why inkjet? Yeah, it was bright, right? That guy's like, oh, it's too bright. That's how I feel with that light's on me too. So why inkjet and why now? It just so happens that because my partner was Canon Solutions America, and we showed the samples from Canon's OSE ProStream. This thing, it's not available here yet. I'm not trying to sell a press. I get nothing. I'm not here for that. I'm just telling you the story as it happened. So these samples changed the way that everybody that we presented to thought about inkjet. And these are actual pictures from the presentation. That is actually Tanya Power. She presented with us, and she's holding the print sample that made them all change their mind. The woman in the far corner with the glasses, she's the creative director of this advertising agency. And I mention this because this was her reaction. Give it to me. I want to touch it. I want to see it. I want to understand what this is. That is a gigantic win. As a matter of fact, this agency just won the Subway account. Subway restaurants, you have those here, yeah? And they called me and asked me to help them find some printers for this work because of this presentation. So it all matters. This does not do it justice because this is a video screen, and I'm sure once the ProStream comes to Mexico, I would just encourage you all to look at the samples, make your own decisions, but definitely look at them. They were just pristine, they were beautiful, they highlighted, I mean, to have inkjet and show samples of solid black is insane unless you know that you can deliver on it. It's one of the easiest things to tell when something is wrong. So inkjet is in. The quality has removed the quality question. When you can start talking to customers, let me just stop for one moment. How many printers are in the audience? Printer? 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 Nobody else? Okay. Okay. When you don't have to talk about quality of print, you can change the conversation to talk about what can this press do? What is the value it can add? She gets it. What is the value you can add to this customer? What is the value they can add to their clients? It is a wonderful thing when a print customer doesn't want to talk about quality and only wants to know, what can I do with this press? Tell me everything. So what I wanted to talk to you about now is 4 ways that you can win if you invest in inkjet technology, no matter who that is from. And more importantly, how to collaborate with print customers. Don't forget that I was a print customer for 25 years, and I met with over 600 of them that all of you would want to work with. So this is information from all of us that I'm sharing with you. So one of the easiest ways to collaborate with somebody is to pose a question. If you ask somebody a question, they almost always have to answer, and that is a collaboration. You need a question and an answer to form a thing, the thing that it is. So with winning with inkjet, Domtar paper showed the buyers a sample of a magazine that they print for Canada in offset, and a second version that they print a smaller run for in French, because Canada has a rule that you have to have both languages, at least in Quebec. So we would put the samples on the table and ask them, we wouldn't say anything to begin with, and then we would just start asking them questions. Do you notice anything different about these magazines besides one's in English and one's in French? Do they smell differently? Do they feel differently? You know, and it created an entire curiosity around it until they understood that one was inkjet and one was offset. And then they were fully invested in looking at it and talking to us and engaging with it. And you can create an idea like that with whatever you produce to work with print customers. Teach them a new trick. We showed an example of a postcard that a furniture company left would send out a couple of weeks after somebody left an item in a shopping cart. And the postcard would come to their house and say, "Hi, I'm the night table, the table next to the bed that you left in the shopping cart. Don't forget about me. Take me home." And they were able to understand that variable data could also be images. And that opened their mind to new ideas, because they all thought that it was only "Dear Deborah," "Dear Claudia," "Dear Francesco," and not that it could be some people got blue postcards with a cat on it and some got red with a dog. Create a beta testing group. Everybody wants to feel like they're special. If you have a new piece of equipment, call a few prospects that you really want to work with and just say, "I've been following your work. I think it's amazing. I got a new piece of equipment. I'm not trying to make money from you. I just want to work with you and run some test files and see how I can push this technology." And once you open up the door to that kind of conversation, you get them used to understanding that a printer or somebody in the print industry is a resource for information, not just somebody who's trying to sell them something. Productize and do not commoditize. So often I hear printers, especially, what they want to do when they call a new customer is they want to print all of their work, every single piece of it. But most people won't just say, "Oh, okay, today I won't print with someone who I've been printing for 10 years, and I'll just try you because I have nothing else to do today." So you don't want to, if you're a printer or any type of salesperson, you don't want to try to remove or put down the other technology. What you want to try to do is enhance it in some way. So for example, with the Domtar example, it was enhanced. Inkjet enhanced that because they didn't have to spend as much money as they would on that shorter run of offset for that second language. So a version is an enhancement. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could be as simple as that. Too many salespeople have sales in their titles. And when you have sale in your title, that makes everything about you trying to get a sale from somebody else. If salespeople change their titles to be more value for the customers, it would be a better way to open the door for collaboration and communication. So if you're going to create a print product, become a print product engineer instead of a print salesperson, as an example. And again, if you have people who have access to great clients or great work with them to create some test files and submit them for any awards for review. The paper companies, everybody is interested in if you're doing something special. Initiate dynamic contrast. So a dynamic contrast is the presence of two or more things at the same time. So when everybody talks about inkjet, they always say inkjet is effective and efficient because it totally is. But if everybody is saying that, what else can you say to get somebody interested to have a conversation with you about it? So if it's effective and it's efficient, what else is it? Well, it could be functional. It could be cool. It could be a solution to a problem like this versioning in French and English. It could be an improvement. That's also an improvement, being able to save money on that second run of print. Agencies love awards, and they will partner with anybody who wants to help them win an award. And this is the awards case in just one agency that we visited. And Every single advertising agency has one of these, and if it's not at the front door, it is not further than 10 feet from the president's office, because this is the thing that they live and die for, is an award. They love them. And as a matter of fact, that catalog that was printed on the ProStream actually won an industry award. The printers voted it a gold for inkjet printing and publishing. So I said there were 4 things, but I actually have 5 things to share with you. And what I want you to do is think strategic thoughts when it comes to collaborating with customers of any kind. So I like to tell this story called, Do Your Customers Have Holes in Their Wine List? Now, I'm going to take a leap. Does anybody else besides me watch The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? See? No? See? Okay. Well, there is a television program in America called The Real House. I think you watch it. You're just not telling it. Is it true? You don't watch it? I think you do, and you're just not admitting it. On The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, one of the women on the show owns a string of very successful restaurants in Beverly Hills. And almost every day, she's contacted by people who sell wine, who want to sell her wine for her restaurant. And how do they want to sell her wine? They say to her, we can get it to you faster, we can get it to you cheaper, and we've got better wine. Which is pretty much what every printer says to every print customer. We could do it better, faster, and cheaper. By the way, no one in an advertising agency or a brand wants to do cheap print, so never say that word. They like to do expensive things to win awards. It doesn't say they're not budget conscious, but if you say cheap, that's the way they will think of you. So anyhow, she was just very insulted by this approach, because she felt that she had worked with her chef and they had developed a wine pairings for all of the dishes, and she didn't appreciate that these distributors were just trying to get her to, switch on her. Until one day, a gentleman called her and said, I want to talk to you about the holes in your wine list. And she's like, what are you talking about? What holes in my wine list? Come over and talk to me. Now, this was the first time in years she had ever done this, because she was always bombarded by these salespeople. So what he said to her was that in your spring menu with this fish, you have a white wine. That's beautiful, a beautiful pairing. But there's one more that fits here before you get to the next wine that you have in your wine menu. Because if you look at wine lists, they put them in order of a progression. I don't drink wine, but there's some progression. And then this lamb dish you have, there's one that would complement the string beans on it. I mean, they were crazy. They studied the menu and came up with 5 things she did not have. They did not try to replace or discuss anything she did have. And guess what happened? She bought the 5 wines from the guy. This is how we have to all start thinking about print marketing. What are your customers already doing? Leave them alone with that. How can you make it better for them? How can you add some value to it? How can you add things that they're not doing? It might be saving them on shipping because you're closer to where you know that they're always sending something. If that's the only thing, that is something different that no one's talking to them about that can get you into the door. So the gentleman who sold her these 5 wines ended up getting all of the business for all of her restaurants because he had the other wines. He just never discussed them with her because it was no value to her to hear about the products and the wines that she already had. So when it comes to winning with buyers of any kind, quite frankly, you have to educate. You can't edu-sell. There are too many people who want to try to sell you something, and they're so eager to do that, that they only tell you things that you need to know to buy something, but not all of the information in general about the product or the service. So there's a big difference between getting educated and being sold to. And I'm sure you've all been on the opposite end of someone trying to sell you something. You know what that feels like. It does not feel good when you're just trying to learn something and someone's trying to make you buy something from them. Try to go into a phone store and see what happens. They pounce on you. Show them samples of their own work. So many people show samples of just random things, and it has no emotional connection to print customers. So if you show them their own work, think of it this way. If I showed you a T-shirt with, that guy's face on it, or I showed you a T-shirt with your child or your dog or your turtle's face on it, which one are you going to grab for? The one that means something to you. It's the same thing with the print sample. You want to show people samples that they can have an emotional connection to. And focus on the applications that the inkjet presses can make. Don't focus on the technology aspects of it. The print buyers do not care about that. This is the only slide I will do in Spanish because I've been practicing. Nunca, 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 dice data to a print customer. Never say data to a print customer, ever. They scream, ah! An Excel file, ah! People's personal information, ah! They want nothing to do with data. But they like examples that use variable data as long as you don't talk to them about how that happens up front. You just tell them, don't worry about that right now. We'll get to that part later on. Right now, let's just talk about how you might want to use, what is the work that you want to do in this campaign. And we will work together, because remember, this is about collaboration. We will work together to figure out how to get it done. If anybody says to the print customers, well, we just need the data from you, good luck. Thank you very much for coming. You will never hear from them again. So the last thing I want to kind of talk to you about before I see if anyone has questions or anything like that is to win with buyers and really to win in business in general, and differentiation is such a big word now. You really do have to stand out. So I like to tell this story called The Tomato Connection, which none of the Canon people know this story. They've been listening to me to tell the wine story for 2 days. So you might not realize, but I am not an athlete. I'm not training for the Olympics, but I do like to make chili, which might sound believable. And when I make my chili, I go to the store, and there is, because it is America, there is a wall of tomatoes I can choose from. I'm not kidding. There is a wall of tomatoes. And I am not ashamed to say that I will buy the tomatoes that are on sale every single time. Because to me, what does it matter? It's a tomato. It's only one ingredient in all of my chili. I'm going to put in my amazing spices, and it doesn't matter what kind of tomatoes are in there. Until one day, I was in my house, and I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but have you ever, in the background, heard the side effects of a medicine on a radio or a TV show? and you think the world is ending? Why are people's ears bleeding? Why can't they breathe? Well, this is what happened to me. I was doing my dishes and my television was on, and all of a sudden I heard lye peeling is generally recognized as safe. And I'm like, lye peeling? Lye? Like the chemical they put on bodies in the movies with the mafia, you know, lye to dissolve them? And sure enough, I have, you know, on the TV, I paused the TV, I ran, I took a picture, and yes, lye that dissolves the bodies is used to peel tomatoes. But thank God, they're safe for the tomatoes, which made me think, but what about the humans? What about the humans? Why do I have to have lye in my tomatoes? That is crazy. But wait, Hunt's peels their tomatoes with beautiful natural steam from the earth. No chemicals, nothing that dissolves bodies, water, heated. And that is their value proposition. That is what makes them different. On one hand, you have tomatoes that use chemicals that dissolve bodies. And on the other hand, you have tomatoes that are peeled by water. I don't care how much those Hunt's tomatoes cost anymore. Those are the only ones I will buy now because they gave me a reason to only care about them. They made it so, their tagline, it's good to be different. They made their difference something so simple, chemicals versus natural steam, that most people cannot really make an argument which one they're going to buy. So when you think about what makes you different, what is your steam? Knowledge is esteem. Legacy, if you are in a business that's been around for a long time, promote that. Knowledge matters. Legacy matters. Responsiveness. Everybody knows. How long do you wait before you start freaking out if someone's not texting you back or calling you back? Or have you ever been in an airport and someone's luggage is not there? Delta, American Airlines, where's my luggage? And somebody had better answer them very fast, or there will be a riot. So put mechanisms in place to always respond, even if it's just, I got your message, I will get back to you as soon as possible. Just the acknowledgement that it was received is enough to be different. Partnership. What are you bringing to the table? Is it only about you? Is it only about sales? Or are you there to help people really enhance what they're doing and help their customers? Everybody here who's in any sort of sales role, their primary goal should be to help their customers grow their business. That's why they're buying things from you. All of this equals up to trust. Vendors of any type, whether you're a printer or a manufacturer or somebody selling flowers on the corner, people have to have trust that you will deliver on your promises, you will deliver the products and services that you have, agreed to deliver, and that you are always available and honest in talking to people. So I like to say, have you been peacocked? Project Peacock grew out of the advertising agencies and now has become two other iterations. Ooh, bad word. Two other versions, better word. Project Peacock Peaks was the first version, and I went to Canon Solutions America in Boca Raton, Florida, and we made videos, and that's Bob the Peacock. And I made a video series with a bunch of manufacturers, and the first video shows off the applications that are possible, just like we did in the presentations with the advertising agencies. And the second video, the technology video, shows off the presses to the printers who might want to buy them. But they both work together so that everybody understands, if you want to make this, you need this. And these are the other companies that we've made videos with. There are actually 2 more being edited right now from Zycon, and actually from another one from Canon, from their large format. The ones currently up for Canon are about inkjet technology. But I would encourage you to look at them. People are using them as sales tools. If you have any of this equipment, it's great. Or just, even if you don't, the application videos are fantastic to show print customers and marketing people what's possible to produce with print marketing today. Next week, on Thursday, I'm launching Project Peacock Print Fair. And I managed to get a whole bunch of partners together for this, including Canon. And we will have an open forum for people to come, just like a space not much bigger than this. Everybody will have a table, and the print customers and the marketing people and the brands can come in and just look at the print samples. There's no printers there trying to sell them anything. It's the manufacturers themselves just showing off what their technology can do. So after New York, we're going to Dallas, Chicago, and Los Angeles, and perhaps Mexico City in 2020. Woo! We will see. We got one person coming. So that is my presentation. I hope that you learned something. Does anybody have any questions or would like to make any discussion points? I have my English translator. Does anyone have a question? A comment? Nobody? Oh, you guys are shy. Well, thank you very much for joining. Please listen to the podcast, visit my website, and stop by the Canon booth and thank them for inviting me, and maybe they will invite me back again. Thank you, everybody, so much.
Por favor, no se vayan. Tenemos una encuesta que proponerles, pero no sin antes entregar un reconocimiento a Deborah. Vamos. ¿Ya? Bueno, bien. Todas las chicas acá, ¿no? Tú también. No importa, yo me quedo acá.
This is a recognition for you, Deborah. We are very grateful that you have been here participating in our exhibition. And this is from EXPOGRAFICA and EXPOGRAFICA ANIDIGRAF. Thank you very much.
Vénganse para acá, que nos pongan en medio. Clau, Alex, vente para acá. ¿Listo? Foto. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. No se levanten porque tenemos una encuesta que vamos a pasar y necesitamos de su participación. Muchas gracias, Clau. Todos saquen sus teléfonos nos van a ayudar a que ustedes respondan esta encuesta, es muy facilita, no les quitamos mucho tiempo, métanse a menti.com. Menti.com, thank you very much, Deborah. Menti.com y metan el código 919326. 912326. ¿Listos? Nos vamos a ir a la primera pregunta. La primera pregunta es evaluación general de Deborah Korn. Aquí abajo estoy viendo cuántos contestan, entonces todos contestemos. Muy bien, muy bien. Evaluación general de Deborah Korn. Muy bien. Ahí va subiendo el número. Vamos muy bien. Siguiente pregunta, por favor. La siguiente pregunta. Siguiente, chicos. Siguiente pregunta, ¿qué te pareció el tema de la plática? ¿Qué te pareció el tema de la plática? Pueden meter ahí cualquier respuesta que ustedes quieran. ¿Qué te pareció? Interesante, interesante, wow, great, perfect, interesting, innovador, interesante, genial, genial es cool. Deborah, genial es cool. Ok, siguiente pregunta, por favor. Siguiente pregunta, ¿qué tan relevante fue esta plática para tu negocio? Muy relevante, relevante, algo relevante. Muy relevante, muy bien, perfecto. Van contestando, muy bien. Siguiente pregunta, por favor. Siguiente pregunta. Después de esta plática, ¿qué palabra utilizarías para describir el futuro de las agencias de publicidad? Preguntas abiertas, ok, tinta. Muy bien. Ilimitado, muy bien, ilimitado. Emocionante, mejora, inyecta, acercamiento, aplicaciones, prometedor. Muy bien, la siguiente pregunta, por favor. ¿Qué tema del foro te interesa más? Estamos manejando 4 temas alrededor de todo este foro espacio Anidigraf. ¿Cuál les interesa? Innovación, tendencia, sustentabilidad, educación. Muy bien, muchísimas gracias. El siguiente. ¿Qué te pareció la producción y logística de este foro para seguir mejorando y que lo hagamos mejor cada día? Muchísimas gracias, ya me la pagaron, pero pueden seguir contestando. Muchísimas gracias a todos. Hasta luego. Los esperamos mañana viernes, todavía mañana es día de estudiantes, habrá un recorrido guiado y además tendremos 2 ponencias muy interesantes. Gracias.